conference is being recorded.
Hey coaches, welcome to our weekly coaching call. I am Andrika J. Austin. I go by Coach AJ for short. I am founder of thebossof.me, where I love helping coaches confidently convert conversations to clients' cash checks and credit cards. I'm so excited about tonight's topic, where we'll dive into the 7 must-haves in your coaching contract for your coaching clients. This way, you'll be able to protect yourself and your coaching business. So make sure you stay tuned to the end. We'll take some frequently asked questions. I'll answer your Q&As as we dive in on our Facebook Live and on our conference line. So be sure to check the bottom of your screen if you're online with us right now and put your questions in the discussion box below. Before we get started, let me let you know that we have an upcoming personal life coach certification training live in Atlanta, Georgia with yours truly this month. So head on over to www.fastcoachtraining.com, get more information, and tell someone you know that you may want to refer. All right, let's go ahead and dive into tonight's topic because, as you guys know, we do not have a whole lot of time together. So for those of you who are coaches and you're wondering, what are some of the things that I need to have to protect me, to give me a little bit of liability coverage, just some of the basic things that should be covered in my typical coaching client contract. So tonight we're talking about the top 7 of actually 18 must-have coaching contract items, okay? And again, this is to help protect you and your coaching business. So each of these that I'm getting ready to dive into should be clearly spelled out in your coaching terms and agreements. And make sure that this is, again, covered in the terms and conditions of your coaching client contract and or agreement. So for those of you who are certified through Fast Coach Training, you know that we have a detailed outline in our training manuals, and I'll share a little bit more about that coming up very shortly. So the first thing you want to have in your coaching client contract or agreement is a detailed description of the roles that you and your new client are getting ready to take on regarding your coaching and your client relationship. So let me say that again. You want to have a detailed description of the roles that you and your new coaching client are getting ready to take on regarding you as their coach and them as the client. You want to spell out that relationship and what that looks like, because a lot of times we meet people who have no idea what coaching is. They don't understand how it works. So we have to set those expectations. So for those of you who have trained with me and become certified personal life coaches here in Atlanta, you know that we set the expectations before we even dive into what's getting ready to come up in that 8-hour intensive training, right? So you want to be sure that your role as the coach is clear. And let me be clear. Usually your role as a coach, whether you've been doing this for years or you just got started this week, usually your role is inspirational. You're there to inspire someone, to show them their potential. As we like to say at Fast Coach Training, we help people think different. So you're there to inspire and invoke those thoughts of thinking differently, changing their mindset. And then you're there as that motivational resource to help them keep going. Because I meet a lot of women who say, AJ, I just need the motivation. Someone asked me recently, when is your next upcoming event? Because I need to be motivated. And I said, man, that is really our job as a coach, to be motivational, to be inspirational. And often we'll also throw a little bit of education in there. So being motivational, inspirational, educational, those are our 3 roles as a coach only. Okay. You want to make sure that you understand, and you're also being very clear in your coaching agreement to your new client, making sure that they understand that this is your role as their coach, to educate, to motivate, and to inspire, and that you're not their own personal counselor or therapist. And again, for all of you Fast Coach trainees who have been in the training with me, who have read your coach training manuals, you know the difference between a coach and a counselor or a therapist or a practitioner or a clinician, whatever word you want to throw on there, because the difference usually stands out when you learn that counseling and therapy are services provided by licensed professionals. Now, of course, we dive deeper into that in the Fast Coach Training live trainings here in Atlanta. And so I won't dive into it in detail. You have to come to the training, be there with me, or if you've already been there with me, you know that we dive in and we talk about that difference between the two. But make sure that your client understands it, because just because you may or may not understand it, you want to make sure that you're setting that expectation in the role for your client. So again, you want to make sure that you're including a detailed description of your role, of the client's role regarding that coaching client relationship. And then you want to make sure that your client, as well as yourself, understand that you're there to inspire, to motivate, and to educate only. You're making sure that your new client totally understands that this and this only is your role as their new coach, and you're not their own personal counselor or therapist, which these are services provided by licensed professionals and not covered in the coaching contract. So again, spell that out, make sure that they understand, and make sure that this is in your contract. All right. The second thing to have in your coaching contracts is your pricing. Now, if you've been tuning into these weekly coaching calls long enough, you know, we've talked about sales, we've talked about pricing, we've talked about packaging, we've talked about a lot of areas of marketing your coaching business. Now, if you need more help with marketing your business and you need some step-by-steps, of course, I have a great resource I can point you to that shows you what that pricing looks like, what your fee structures, how to package your products and your services, and then how to get out there and sell that thing. But because you've listened to me so often and you follow the steps, you have your pricing together, you have that fee structure, you want to make sure you're putting that in your coaching contract or your agreement, as we like to call it. It's nicer, it's softer, but you want to spell out your pricing. You want to talk about the fee structure for your coaching service. You also want to make sure that you promise to let your client know when or if your coaching prices increase. So again, make sure in your coaching agreement, you put a little small clause in there saying, hey, I promise to let you know when or if my coaching prices increase. And then it'll be up to the client whether they want to continue to work with you once their coaching contract is up. So again, this is the ideal time to discuss if the agreement is okay with the client. Talk about the payment. Are they okay with the price? Talk about if they're going to pay and when you can expect that payment, either in full or on an agreed upon payment arrangement. So if you're being very upfront, you're letting them know this is the cost of your coaching. This is the fee structure. If the prices change, I'll let you know. Are you okay with that? And if so, when can I accept your partial payment or your payment in full? That's tip number 2. Tip number 3. Okay, this is where within your agreement, you have another agreement to hold you and your coaching company harmless, both before, during, and after your work together. So again, let me repeat that. Within the coaching agreement, you're having an agreement for your new client to hold you and your coaching company harmless, both before, during, and after your work together. Now, if you're a skilled and properly trained certified coach, you know the technique that we teach through Fast Coach Training that helps you avoid the need for this clause altogether. So let me give a quick example. Let's say you have a new client and they are trying some techniques that they have learned from you. However, they're also incorporating them with some other things they're learning. You know how you guys get, right? You go on these free webinars, you go to events, you hear new people talk, you hear new techniques, and you start mixing it in with what your coach may be telling you to do. And then if something doesn't work, you don't make the type of money you want to make. You don't finish all your homework before the program ends. You lose access to the coaching program. Then there is a problem, and people talk lawsuits and lawyers, and you want to sue. Well, within the coaching agreement, you're letting them know that they agree to hold you harmless, no matter if they're putting this information into practice before, throughout the time you're working together, or after. They are not going to hold you responsible for things when they, quote, don't go right. So again, if you're skilled and you're properly trained, you absolutely know how to avoid even having to use this clause because you have the technique that you need. And again, that's something you guys know we dive in the Fast Coach Training courses. So if you're not certified, I'm going to share some information coming up. So just hang on. Tip number 4, make sure, and we talked about this in our latest training here in Atlanta, that you have permission that you can share your new client with the world. Let me put this in coaching agreement terms. Make sure permission has been granted to share your new client with the world. And what that means is, let's say you have a great client. They're doing very well. They're getting great results. They may even be some sort of celebrity, and you're their coach, and you want to include their information, their testimonials in your marketing materials, on your website, on your social media posts. I see a lot of coaches do that, where they brag on the results their clients are getting, maybe in a screenshot from a text or a Facebook message. But this information will be made known. It will be public. You want to make sure that that client understands and they agree to that term, that they are willing to give you the permission to share that they are now your new coaching client. Okay. And the way this usually manifests is in the form of testimonials and videos. It could be a written testimonial as well. Sometimes it'll come out in coaching. It definitely comes out on coaching calls, where you want to brag on who your clients have been and the results they've received. Usually when the client is agreeing to let you use their testimonial, tell people they coach with you, they'll give you their own photo. They'll give you their name, their website, and their email address to include with that that testimonial. So you want to make sure that you're getting their permission and not just going out there and say, hey, so-and-so is my client. And I've actually heard this recently, where someone dropped a major celebrity name that they were coaching with that client. And I'm not sure if they had the permission, because it shocked us when we heard whose name she dropped. So again, make sure you get that in writing. I can't say that she didn't have it in writing, but we're just not used to hearing that such big names have coaches. So sometimes people are okay with it, and sometimes they're not. So again, make sure you're getting that permission. Let's move on to tip number 5. And you guys know we're getting close to number 7. So if you have questions and you're here with us live right now, go ahead and look in the bottom in that discussion box and put that question there. As you guys know, whether or not we are live or you're listening to this replay, I will always come back and engage with you guys if you have questions about the topics that we're coaching on during our weekly calls. So number 5, to include in your coaching agreement, this is the thing you want to make sure is there. Put how long the new client can expect your work together to last. Let me say that again. Make sure you include in your coaching contract, your coaching agreement, the terms and conditions, the policies and procedures, how long your new client can expect your work together to last. So for example, a lot of people join coaching programs that I offer and they say, hey, AJ, how long before I get results? How long before I get success? How long is it going to take for me to complete this coaching program? And they want you to put a number of days, of hours, of weeks, of months, maybe even of years that it's going to take. So you want to spell that out along with everything else that we just went over in our recap in just a second. You want to let them know how long they can expect to have access to you, your coaching, especially if you're doing it one-on-one. Now, our last call together, I also went through some things during the sales process when you send your new coaching welcome package and you're telling people when your work begins. You're also going to let them know how to reach out to you when they have questions. So I love email coaching. I love the audio feature on Facebook. I love Facebook inbox, LinkedIn inbox. I love things where I don't have to stop what I'm doing and jump on the phone and it throws off the rest of my day. And we can just do a 60-second chat. So if that's one of the features that you offer, you want to make sure that that has already been spelled out. You can either include it in your coaching contract and or include it in that welcome package we talked about in our last call together. But for this tip about setting the expectation for how long your coaching time together will be, it's often best to revisit the coaching contract between you and your new client after the first 365 days of your first day working together. So let's say you agree to work together for a year. Then after day 365, you go back, you revisit it, and then you discuss what next steps are. Have they graduated? Are they ready to move on? Do they need more of your help? But you have to explain this and lay it out. And I will share an example that I've had over the years. One in particular, I offered a 90-day coaching program, and I still have this 90-day coaching program where I help new coaches build the bomb business. It's over at thebossof.me if you want more information, but it's called Boss of Me. And everyone who signs up understands that this is a 90-day coaching program. Well, one lady signed up, she paid her money, she got access to the entire coaching program, and I never heard from her again, despite my many attempts to reach out. send emails, the same form of communication that she signed up with and that we were communicating with. She just like fell off the face of the earth. And I said, what happened? I want to check in. And for those of you who are listening, who have ever coached with me, I will send a text message. I will call. I will send an email. I will send a Facebook inbox. I will send that fabulous audio feature on Facebook. I will find you to see, how are you doing? I want to know, because I want you to get results. I lay out everything you need. I make sure you're good. And then I let you go. Well, this particular lady, 7 months after a 90-day program was complete, sent a long email to my office complaining about why she did not finish the program. And guess who she put it on? Me. So, although I know I did everything within my power, I offered the same services that I offer every client that goes through the Boss of Me program. This particular client was not happy, but she wanted someone else to put it out there on. So that's why you need things like your hold harmless agreement. You need to lay out how long the client can expect to have access to the program, to have access to you. And then when that time is up, make sure that you're revisiting that information to be sure you're on the same page. That, my friends, is number 5. Number 6, talk about in your coaching agreement whether or not your clients are pleased with your work, whether they may not be pleased, and then how they can cancel their work if they would like. Or if you're talking about they are pleased with your work in the contract, give them the steps on how to renew for another year. Because remember, we are revisiting our coaching contracts every 365 days. So that's 1 year. And so let them know that during that renewal period, you will revisit and they can renew that coaching contract at that time, and let them know again what that process is for carrying each of these steps out, whether or not they want to cancel or whether or not they want to renew. And finally, my friends, number 7, make sure that you don't send all of this information and then you leave out this key feature. Make sure there is a place for your new client to sign and print their name and put the current date when they sign, because what this does is solidify all of the terms and conditions we just went over, and it shows you that your client is in total agreement with all of the above. So let me quickly recap 1 through 7 of the 7 must-haves in your coaching contract. Okay. So again, this is 7 of 18 must-haves to protect you, to protect your coaching business. And you want to make sure these are spelled out in your terms and conditions. Number 1 was that detailed description of the roles, letting your clients know what to expect. And then knowing your role is there, you are there to inspire, to educate, and to motivate only. You're not a therapist. You're not a licensed counselor. Number 2 is putting your pricing, your fee structure, and then making sure you let your clients know that you'll let them know when or if your prices increase, and open up the discussion that the payment is okay, the price is okay, they agree. That way you know, and you can start the discussion as well about when to expect their payment, whether it's a payment arrangement or payment in full. And then number 3, you want to make sure you're including an agreement to hold you and your coaching company harmless before, during, and after all of your work together. And again, if you have been properly certified and trained, especially through Fast Coach training, you know the technique to help you even avoid the need for this clause altogether. Number 4 is make sure that permission has been granted for you to share your new client with the world in your marketing materials, your website, social media, etc. But letting your client know that the public will know that they are your new client if they give you permission. And they usually do so in the form of testimonials, either written or video. It'll come out in your coaching, your sales calls. They'll give you their photo, their name, their website, their email address. That way, if they go out as a testimonial, then you would want to send new clients considering working with you to that client, asking them about the results that they have received with you as their coach. Number 5 was making sure that you include how long the new client can expect for you guys to work together, and then revisit that agreement within the first 365 days, or let's say on that 365th day if it's a year-long contract, but make sure it's at least 365 days of your first day working together. Number 6, talk about whether they are pleased with your work as their coach or not, and how they may cancel their work with you, whether it's within 30 days or they need to let you know before the next billing cycle, or if they want to renew during that 1-year contract revisit renewal period, let them know the process for carrying out each or either of these completely. And finally, number 7, make sure there is a place for them to sign on the dotted line and print their name and the current date when they sign it, because that shows that they are in total agreement with all of the above. So if you just happen to be listening to tonight's coaching call and you feel like you need to know more about how to handle things like disputes and defaults and cancellations and warranties, and even more detail on the terms and conditions that should be included in a coaching or client agreement for your coaching business, if you've been certified through Fast Coach Training, I want you to see page 56, page 5-6 in your Fast Coach Training Manual for the personal life coaching terms and conditions. That has everything you need to know. And that's actually the inspiration for this week's coaching call. So if you just happen to be reading or listening to this somewhere else in the internet, and you don't have coach training or a coach training manual, you're not a certified coach yet, and you want to be a certified life coach through Fast Coach Training, which I'm one of the trainers. A lot of people listening right now, they've gone through the Fast Coach Training certification process to be a certified life coach. Visit fastcoachtraining.com to get more information. And for those of our coaches who have successfully completed the life coach certification course, send people over there. Get your $50 referral fee for sending people to the fastcoachtraining.com website to register for our upcoming 1-day personal life coach certification intensive training that's here in Atlanta, Georgia, very soon. Hurry and make sure you do this. So now I want to take a quick moment with our last, let's say 10 minutes together. Take any questions, and I will be coming to our conference line, and I am checking Facebook. So Facebook Live, what questions do you have for me right now about what it takes to put your coaching contract, your coaching agreement, your policies and procedures, your terms and conditions into play? What questions do you have for me? And I also want to take a moment to open up the coaching line. So I'm going to go ahead and open up our Q&A.
Q&A session started.
All right, conference line. So if you are live with us right now and you have a question about our coaching call topic, feel free to press *6 and you will be placed in queue to get that question answered live with yours truly. All right, Facebook Live, I am looking at you guys. Let me scroll through the comments. Shouts out to Coach Keisha. Hey, Jennifer Taylor. Hey, Celeste. Hey, Tasha and Jacole. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. What questions can I answer as we wrap up our call together? All right, conference line *6 if you have a question, and you'll be placed in queue. Okay, guys, so you are quiet. I'm kicking me out. You know, we have a love-hate relationship. Sometimes they show me your comments. Sometimes they don't. But I don't see any questions on our Facebook Live. Thank y'all for, again, hanging out. You know, I love the engagement. I love to know that you're listening. You're putting this information to practice in your coaching companies. Conference line, I do not see anyone in the queue, but I do see you guys hanging on the line. So thank you for that. I appreciate you. So I'll go ahead and wrap up our topic with this. There is someone somewhere waiting on you to walk in your destiny so they can walk into theirs, because it's when you let your light shine that you give others permission to do the same. I am Coach Andrika J. Austin. Go by Coach AJ for short. Until we meet again, my friends, listen, this time next week, same place, I'll be here for you, sharing some tips on how to take your coaching company to the next level. You guys have a phenomenal, wonderful rest of your week. God bless.
Your conference recording has stopped.